Let's go.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome to Grizz 901, your number one Grizzlies post-game show, and it's not even close. We have a lot in store for you. We're just watching this just like you are, and we're pretty pissed off, not going to lie, coming down to a 106-104 loss to the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, that's twice. That's twice in the last 20 days, 15 days, whatever it is, but we're going to get into all of that tonight, as we do, as always. We're going to break down the game, get into about midway through the show. We're going to get to Grizz trivia, and then we'll finish off with a little look ahead, but a look around the league as I think 15 of the 15 teams, 15 games are playing tonight. There are no games tomorrow. It is for the election. They want to give everybody a little bit of time off to make sure everybody has the chance to go vote. So if you want to partake in that, as you should, go ahead and get out and make sure you put in your vote for the presidential election. But as you always know, I am Daniel. Nate will be joining me. Do me a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're watching over on Twitter, we appreciate that. But the more fun is over in the comment section on YouTube, as it always is. But that's all we got. Let's go ahead and get to the show. Yo, Nate, what up, man? What up?
Yeah. That was tough. That was tough.
It was. It was a game that obviously the Grizzlies lose 106-104. You don't like the shot there to end the game. It looked like it got it into Ja's hand, and Ja, honestly, it looked like he slipped and fell. And it was ugly. It sucked, but in the end of the day, the Grizzlies do lose. So coming off the top rope, what you got?
Honestly, I'm not that impressed about it.
Are you like Charlie? Charlie's over here like, sports are dumb. Why do I care? Like, is that where we are right now?
Okay, hold on. Here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to hate on Taylor Jenkins tonight. That was not a Taylor Jenkins loss. No. And I don't know what more of a chance you wanted to give him than almost 30 minutes and 12 shots. So, yeah. Edey looked really good tonight. Edey's looked really good the past couple of games. I think he's taken a step, but don't want to pick on Art, but we're not going to hate on Taylor Jenkins tonight. Honestly, they went 8 for 30 from 3. They went 8 for 30 from 3. Dorian Finney-Smith, who I have been a perpetual sort of hater of, clearly went off tonight, which, man, if DFS is going to go off from 3 and you're going to make like 8 of 33s.
Right.
And lose by 3, okay. I hate that they lost to the Nets again because because it's gross and they shouldn't lose to the Nets again.
Right.
But I mean, it's just one of those nights, like that. You shoot terrible from 3. Jaren had a terrible night. I'm surprised we haven't seen Goon in the comments yet.
Goon will be here. Don't worry.
Yeah, he had a really rough night. But the Grizzlies missed a lot of bunnies. Jalen Wells couldn't connect from deep tonight. They probably should just let Edey shoot a bunch of threes. Apparently, he couldn't miss on anything tonight. But it'll be all right. I don't think that's very indicative of anything with this team, to be honest. If they play like they had the past 2 games, even just a little bit, the role players had played like that, or Jaren was really any good at all.
That's what I want to get to is, in the end of the day, like the way Ja has been playing, it covers up a lot of our issues in general. And that's really what it's kind of come down to, whether it's coaching, whether it's injuries, whether it's honestly just, a lot of these young guys trying to develop. There's a lot that Ja covers up when he plays the way he did.
Yeah,
he played well tonight. He wasn't as electric as he normally is. And he did end up with, I believe it was 20 something, 25. No, that was, 25, 5, and 9 is for Ja tonight. In the end of the day, like, that's a good game out of Ja. Like, you'll take that every night. But the problem is he wasn't affecting the game as he had been. Like, the flow just looked off for him. And credit to the Brooklyn Nets. But you have to have a running mate with you. Jaren's been his running mate. Jaren's been playing good. Not a great game for him overall. But if you can't, like, stretch the floor, which they could not tonight, going 8 of 30 for 3-point, that's really where it hits you, because they dominated inside into the the paint. But all in all, tonight was one of those games that they couldn't shoot. They played roughly 7 guys. J Huff got 8 minutes. BC got 11 minutes, but they literally went. Edey had 29 minutes and some seconds, but roughly they had 7 guys that played 30 minutes a night. That's definitely a different look than we've had in the past.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Let's do this, Art. Okay.
Let's do this, Art.
Too long to put Edey back in. Edey played 29 minutes. I don't know what the second highest minute total he's played so far this year, but that's the highest by a long shot. He played really well, but you're not going to play in the whole game, especially as a rookie, especially when they got guys like DFS and Cam Johnson playing at the same time, who could not miss tonight. J Huff played 8 minutes and was a -7, so he's almost a minus per minute tonight. And J Huff has been awesome. I'm a huge Huff guy. Dude, he was getting blown by. Me and Daniel could have taken him to the rack tonight. Like, dude, he could not defend tonight. I'm just saying, Daniel can't move nearly as well as I can, and I can move really poorly. Like, I'm not great. So that happened. And then Clark, you're still going to play Clark. BC has been looking better and better every game. Tonight wasn't great for him, but I didn't think he looked awful in his minutes. And you would argue that him and Jaren together is still your best, especially most athletic lineup going against an athletic Brooklyn Nets team. And credit to Taylor, he went away from it all and stuck with Edey and the guys who are working tonight. So sometimes if your team shoots 8 for 30 from 3 and you're giving up threes to guys like DFS who've been shooting 29%, you lose a basketball game, especially if guys like Jaren just don't have it, which is, we're not Jaren haters here, but other than Goon, who has entered the chat, but sometimes your guys just don't make the plays and the other team's guys do. And that's what happened tonight. Was not coaching malpractice.
No, I don't think that was that. It didn't stick out a lot. You're always going to question the coach. Almost any loss, I think you can question the coach. Probably any win, you can question the coach because it very rarely does it all go right. And right now, if you're watching the Monday Night Football game, looks like Patrick Mahomes just threw a touchdown. They had the kick to tie it up 17-17. Patrick Mahomes just hurt himself pretty bad. Not exactly sure what it is. Looks like his plant leg. He's getting helped off the field by 2 coaches, kind of, arms over their shoulders. He can't really walk on it much. So just kind of heads up, if you're watching that, which I am, I'm going to be watching it over here as always. But I'm, obviously going to talk about the game, but I'll try to keep everybody up to date if you're not watching or whatever reason. But in the end of the day, the Grizzlies, you can blame it on a lot of things. I just think that they didn't show up with as much moxie, as much energy that they have been. And I think if you look at it, that's kind of where it comes is they look like they didn't want it more. And that's not to play off of old tweets, we'll say. It just looked like there was something missing there. And so I don't know your thoughts on that. It just looked like they didn't have the energy as they normally had.
I didn't even think it was an energy thing.
Okay.
I thought Jaren was the one whose energy looked off. I think he was just off. I didn't think he didn't show up to play or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just thought he just was off tonight. I thought the energy was fine, dude. If Jalen Wells shoots like he's been shooting, if you have other guys step up and make shots, it just isn't a conversation. I mean, Wells, I thought actually played pretty well tonight. Just shot wasn't falling. He went
0 of 5 from 3.
0 for 5 from 3. You'd expect at least 2 of those to drop. 2 of those drop, you win by 4.
One of those drops.
One's a drop, you win by 1.
Right.
Santi went 0 for 6 from 3, who has been shooting really well. And you just don't have the horses to make up for that unless John and Jaren are playing really well in tandem, which they can play really well in tandem, and they just didn't tonight, right? Ja played really well. Jaren could never get it going at the end. It just turned into Ja trying to have to do it all.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of losses. Like the 2 losses against the Bulls and the Nets earlier really frustrated me. Those were gross losses. This one's like, man, it's one of those nights. One of those nights that you really should not have been in the game as poorly as you shot the ball and as poorly as your second star played with the current roster makeup. And you were still right there at the end. I was excited they were in the game at all going into the 4th.
Right. Well, the Grizzlies are 4-4 at the moment, right? Playing 500 basketball. Let's talk about Jaren, though, because I think that's obviously a topic of conversation. I know that Goon's having it with himself. Like, I'm not sure, Goon, if you realize we can't see your tweets. We can't see your messages in here. We just see your name. We're not sure if you're talking about Jaron. Don't let anybody tell you that we can actually read your text in the comments. We just know you're probably talking about Jaron. No, I'm kidding on that. But let's talk about Jaron real quick. I want to kind of diagnose a little bit of his game. He's played so exceptionally well this season. I do think that there are flaws within his game, just like every player. And I think they're very much alarming to me being this far into his career and there's been no change. I know he's getting into the post a little bit more, but I'm looking at what he's doing is he's literally just pounding the rock, left hand, trying to go to his right, and eventually once he gets in a little bit, he's shooting with his left hand. And when he's on the right side of the goal, literally, there is nothing he's doing. He is not trying to take it. If you ever push him as a defender to the other side where he is back to the basket, right hand is the most outward hand. I don't know if that helps anybody. And he's having to dribble his right hand. He does not want to do anything but get back a spin back baseline to his left. Everything is a finish to his left. I think everybody's seeing that. And I think that a lot of people are overplaying that. I'm not saying that's going to hurt him forever, but he has to develop a little bit more than that.
We saw Jaron develop this last year. I'm not worried about this. If you watch tonight, there's no room in the paint for him to operate. He only has one way to be able to go tonight. Like they were just sending two guys. And for everyone who's like, hey, we can't have him dribbling in. He needs to just post up. Every time he posted up, they sent two. And then nobody could make the shot to punish him.
It's not about that.
No, but what I'm saying is, even when he's in the post right now, like games like this, and I haven't been able to watch the past two games, right? I was traveling. I wasn't able to see the past two games. But tonight, brother, he didn't have anywhere to operate. There was no room to make post moves because they were just packing the paint with guys whenever he got the ball. So even if he had, let's say he does have a great post move, he has a great post game. There's nothing for him to be able to do tonight. There's no space to operate in there. And so the problem is he panicked. He got uptight at the end. You saw a bad turnover trying to pass it to Scottie Pippen. It was a bad pass from Ja at the end, but he also just wasn't ready to go make a play on it either. He got in his head about it, wasn't ready to make the plays that presented themselves. But even if he had completed a lot of these passes to these guys and made the right play, guys weren't making the shots tonight, and the Nets knew that, which is why they kept sending two. Right. Okay. So I see Drew in here. Is this an Edey problem? I sort of we both brought it up at the same time, so now it's not up here at all. I don't think it's an Edey problem. I think that it's a product of you got guys out on the perimeter that aren't Desmond Bane, that aren't Luke Kennard and Vince Jackson, or not Vince Jackson, Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams. And usually, I mean, Wells has been punishing them, Santi has been punishing them, and tonight they didn't. You know, it's just, I think tonight's as simple as that.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at Grizz Company Main. I love that Jake comment. We'll be back to it because I want to stay on Jaron for a second, and then I kind of just adjust to Edey. I believe that Edey being as close as he is to the rim, it's causing a little bit of a clogging effect. But the only issue with that is he is having to make people come to him, right? So I don't know if he's hurting it as much, but it definitely gives you less looks. If you're looking for the interior, if you're looking for a quick dump off, there can be no action to the rim because you have a 7'4" guy. He's going to have a guy. If they're running two at Jaron, obviously they're trying to get the ball out of his hands to go out to the perimeter. So at that point, they want you to shoot the threes. That's just understood. We get that. The issue is with having Edey is you can't have lanes open where guys can come back, a back screen or a guy run on the weak side to the rim. So there's not as much action as you really want to have. So I get it. It's a bad problem to have. But if you don't have anybody that can guard Edey, then you actually have a good problem, right? But the problem is what is Edey doing? My issue with that is nothing. He's doing nothing. When Jaron gets the ball, there's no try to come inside and seal. That's not happening. He's staying on the other block to create space. The problem with that is his space really isn't doing anything, but keeping his defender close enough to help if needed. So that's where it comes to. I think he does clog a little bit, and our shooting hasn't been good. So it's kind of hurting us. If our shooting's good, then this is fine. But if our shooting is bad, which it has been, then we're going to struggle.
Yeah, and everybody has played much better. Jaren played much better. Jaren still got looks tonight that he should knock down and just didn't. Yeah, and it's just one of those things I'm not super worried about. I don't think the Edey thing with Jaren is going to be
He'll figure it out.
Problem
for sure.
Right. And it's one of those things where somebody's got to put a body on him, and if they don't, then he's going to be right under the bucket, and then they'll punish him right away. So, listen, I was actually really encouraged because the Edey thing is going to be huge for this team, and he looked like at a complete game tonight, a true complete game, and so he's continuing to improve. Yeah, I'm just not worried about this loss.
Yeah. No, I'm not worried about the loss. I am not worried about Edey. I'm just saying, if just trying to dissect it, we're not going to just throw shame on what Jaren or Edey. We're not blaming anybody. We have to break the game down and try to get into the thinking of why it's happening and how to adjust it and how to make it better going for the future. In the end, we need shooting. Honestly, that cures so much. But if you're going to have Edey in the game with Jaren, there needs to be action on the backside, whichever of the two. So if Edey does get it, there needs to be some kind of spacing up to the free throw line for Jaren, right? So he can make a little bit more room for Edey, or a dive in, or a seal on the backside on the weak side, so he can create a little bit of honestly, a little bit more room for the whoever's driving, whoever's using that post move, or if we want to have a dump off to an easy a layup or kind of an alley-oop or some sort. So they'll figure themselves out. They haven't played as much together, in all honesty. So we're not saying that anybody is the problem. I see Gary over here. Coaching problem. These guys are professionals. Like, they're going to figure it out. I'm not.
What's a coaching problem?
I'm guessing he's saying that the fact that they're not sealing out the spacing stuff is a coaching problem. I get it, but in the end of the day, they're professionals. They're going to do what they want to do. I don't know if anybody's ever been coached by it. Usually you just do what you want, and then every now and then they'll call a play. Most of the time it's just do what you want, and they kind of point you in the right direction.
We have been honest about Taylor on this show so far. Like, I don't know. People are just looking for a reason to hate on Taylor. The Grizz Company, man, he asked if there a reason Huff God saw 8 minutes tonight. Yeah, because he couldn't guard you and me. I'm telling you, like, it's the Huff defense is
atrocious,
rough, brother. It's rough. I mean, it was brutal tonight. It's been brutal in plenty of games, but yeah, man. Like, sometimes players just have to make shots. You can't coach the ball going through the bucket. So,
and as you're saying, honestly, it is shooting that's going to help or hurt you. When you shoot so many threes, which the Grizzlies only shot 30 tonight, and that really isn't a ton when it comes into the NBA these days, but it is still a lot. But when you're shooting so many and you really just don't look like there's anything else there, that's the issue when it comes down to it. So the fact that you are in a 2-point loss and you shot so bad from outside, it really is nothing to honestly be concerned about. This is going to happen. Like, it is what it is. I'm not worried about it. All right, Heaven's Healthy Kitchen's asking if Konchar's hurt. He is. I believe it's a thigh or a quad.
He plays for the Grizzlies.
So he's hurt, yes.
I'm about to be back on my fire the medical team grind. I know it's not really their fault, but I got to have somebody to blame.
All right, and to your Huff thing, didn't Huff win Defensive Player in the G League? The G League and the NBA are completely two different things. I promise you, it might not seem like it, but it's night and day different. They're just not as fast. I promise you. But what it is it's not his interior defense. It's the perimeter defense. He can't guard, and he can't help himself from over helping. That's his biggest thing. Is he wants to overhelp anybody that might think that they want to drive to the lane. That's been his biggest issue. If they think they want to drive to the lane, brother, he's going to help. I promise you that. And at that point, it's going to get kicked to his guy, and then there's a chaos effect where somebody's going to overhelp to that guy, which ends up being not as good of a shooter, where he passes to a better shooter, and then that's a drop in the bucket. So that's the it. But all right, what do you want to talk about? Because I know you probably have some issues or things that I do want to hit on some Jake. I saw that from Grizz Company Maine. I want to hit on that at some point.
Yeah.
You want to go that way now? Let's go to
Let's do
Jake.
Let's do it.
Jake,
Tonight,
31 minutes. How does that make you feel?
Tonight was the night. Tonight was the first night that I saw Jake do something and said, "Get him off the floor." There was a point, I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was like he got the ball on the post, towards the post. Jaren and Ja are both on the floor at this moment. It's in like the second quarter. It's not late. Instead of popping the ball around, trying to make something happen, he instead chooses to try and drive and then take a fadeaway layup, trying to hook around a defender. And I think it like hit the bottom of the backboard. And then later on, he hit a three off the top of the backboard. And I was like, oh no. I was like, the moment of playable Jake may have passed. That's it. But at the same time, I don't really know who you play over him with lineups like tonight. I truly didn't think he played awful most of the night, but there were some moments where I'm just like, dude, like there's a reason that he's not getting minutes over these other guys when they get back. Right now, though, I mean, it's one of those things where, again, Huff was just unplayable defensively. He was just getting torched. He was only 8 minutes, and it was just he couldn't stop anything, which I'm a big Huff proponent. I love Huff. I love they got him on this contract. I think he can be a true contributor to this team. But it was unplayable. BC just kind of like lost out there. Just kind of wasn't doing much of anything.
I don't think that's the right team for him, honestly. I think they're a little too athletic for where he is right now.
The way he plays, yes.
Right.
Even though he's a crazy athlete, even after the Achilles.
Yeah.
Jake was sort of the best option to go to for a lot of the night when you had the sub guys out. So I'm ready for them to get players back.
I got a question. All right, let's go through some of these because I think it'll be interesting. Jay Huff tonight played 8 minutes. What do you think his plus minus was?
I already know. He's -7. He was like minus a point per minute.
Do you know who was the worst plus minus on the night?
Was it Jay Huff?
Nope.
Santi.
Santi was a -6. He was the third worst. You know what? We've only had 3 guys that were minus. Santi Aldama, Jay Huff, and the one that had the highest minus, whatever, is a -8.
Minus Jake?
Nope.
I have no idea.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, listen, I don't put much thought into the plus minus. It was just interesting. There's goons instantly like Jaren. Jaren.
Lucky guess.
Yeah. So it was just interesting to see this because in his 32 minutes he was a -8, which really, if you look at this, a -8 as being your worst is fine. I promise. That's just a little bit of a flipping of a rotation here and there, and that really does help or hurt you. Jake was, speaking of Jake, Drew put this in the comments as well. Jake is a +3. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't worry and look into plus minus numbers too much unless it's just god awful, right? When it's god awful, you're like, all right, that's the issue.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about the plus minus stuff too much because a minus or a plus on either side of the number is not that crazy. But as Grizz Company Maine, being facetious because I know how to spell it and I know what that word means, Nate and Ryan. Jaren is why we lost. No, it's not.
Inside joke. Jaren was a rough night for Jaren. They did a really good job negating him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go to a little bit of the other team, if you don't mind.
To be clear, we know that if we could upgrade over Jake, that would be great. Just to be really clear to everybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, you're going to get Luke back fairly quickly, I would assume. So
allegedly.
Allegedly. Let's look this week. So you have the Lakers on Wednesday, Wizards on Friday, and then you go Sun. So those are both at home. Then you have the West Coast road trip, which is the first of the NBA Cup games. But the next week, right? You go to at Trailblazers on Sunday, at Lakers on Wednesday, at Warriors on Friday, which is the Cup game before you come back home. So I would assume at some point on that road trip, we get Luke back. I assume. I don't hold me to it. I assume. And at that point, you're probably within the end of November at some point. You're at that point, you're probably within 5 games at the most of getting either maybe a Vince back, possibly, maybe a Smart back, maybe a Desmond Bain back. And then at that point, you're going into December. Maybe we're all healthy.
Well, unfortunately, all the medical updates are always a whole bunch of nothing from the Grizzlies. Like, it's not bad enough that the guys are always hurt. They also always have to say, oh, they're week to week, which could mean 1 week or it could mean 52 weeks. See you next year. Like, I just don't. It's miserable when Grizzlies guys are hurt, which is effing always. So I don't know. I don't know when Desmond Bain's going to be back. What they say, week to week with him or day to day?
So I think he was week to week. I think it was two weeks is the expected time.
By the way, what the heck is the difference between week to week and day to day? Because like I know you're not as into it. I play fantasy football, love fantasy football, but week to week means a guy could play this Sunday.
Yeah, like, but you're getting that week to week is more for NFL compared to the NBA.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. And the NBA is being compared to the Grizzlies, which is their own microcosm of injury hell.
Right.
I just don't know what it means. I can't take it. I hate Grizzlies injuries. It's like we're right back where we were last year almost.
Right.
Just miserable.
Yeah. Especially like
real updates. Tell us something that matters.
Yeah, especially like Goon's last comment. I will not put it up here, but Goon's last comment needs to be deleted. No. Thank you for calling him out, Drew Allen. I appreciate that. But Black Ninja DJ wants to know about the status on GG. I believe GG was going to be evaluated in 2-ish weeks. At that point, I believe that was the last one. And at that point, we're talking about getting him closer at some point. And I would think we have more of a timetable at that point, but he said that it is going to be end of December, maybe 1st of January. So I think that his reevaluation is coming up just to make sure he's getting back to normal, because it is a foot injury. So he's not able to do any running or anything on it, but it's just once he can get, which he's out of the boot, I believe he's out of the boot, get him completely healed. And at that point, then you can ramp him up slowly. He's going to be looking fine for a while. The problem is he's not in shape, not ready for, to move, especially have that kind of a foot injury. So not sure about GG, but I would assume that it's going to come within the next, the next couple of weeks. We'll hear something else about GG. But all right, let's talk about the other team real quick, because we're about halfway through the show, and I want to talk about them before we get too far, because I don't believe we play the Nets for a good minute now. But let's go to the Nets, who won 106-104 of the Grizzlies. Let's start with Cam Johnson. 3 of 4 from 3 tonight, 20 points. You like Cam Johnson overall. Would you like him if it fit for the Grizzlies?
We got Cam Johnson at home. Vince Williams will be back soon.
Okay. All right. Dorian Finney-Smith was fine. I know he heated up late in that second half. Nick Claxton doesn't look like the Nick Claxton, I don't know, guy who I think is amazing. I never loved Nick Claxton. I thought he would have been bad for this team, but I think he's not worth the money, in my opinion. What say you?
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. That's always sort of been my position on it.
Okay. I think he's fine. I just don't think he's worth that money. And
despite what happened tonight, no to DFS. Remember, he's shooting 29% from 3 before tonight.
Yeah, he's not a good shooter. I don't know if people realize
that. I want everybody to remember that when that starts coming around again. Me and Chris used to always go back and forth on that.
All right, and we do have an update from the game. I see everybody was talking in here about it. It looks like 4 minutes to go in the game. Patrick Mahomes pulled a Paul Pierce. He's actually fine. Yeah. Nothing wrong with him.
Blue tip has a toilet.
He came back and actually marched the Chiefs down to a touchdown pass. I believe that was to DeAndre Hopkins, which would be his second for the night. Is that correct?
Yep. Happy for D-Hop. Leaving the Titans.
See it. There it is. To D-Hop.
You can actually catch passes.
Yep. So it looks like they're up by 7, which the line was 9. If anybody's a betting person, so we'll stay there. But I do have money on the 9 if that anybody cares.
It's real. We're not going to bring the comment up, but that's classic. That's classic. That was good. That had me going.
Who had to go on?
AC Surreal. We're not going to bring it up.
That's fine.
Trying to be positivity show for the most part, but it's classic. Here,
Wow, that is true. I like that. AC Cyril. Very good. All right, let's go to the other team real quick, and we'll talk about Dennis Schroeder for trading for 2 firsts, maybe 3 firsts for him. Is that right? Is that what Grizz Schroeder's going to do these days? But 20 points, 2 of 7 from deep. Thoughts on Schroeder? Kind of a lifetime backup. When he gets a chance, he plays well, but is he a winner?
He's always been a winning player. I thought. I thought he played really well with the Lakers. I've always thought he was really good. I thought him and I know a lot of people don't like this guy, but Reggie Jackson both would be guys that could be good kind of vet backups for the Grizz if they were able to come cheap enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a really good player. Clearly kills the Grizzlies, but Grizzlies just play a style of defense right now that players like Schroeder that are vets that know how to get to their spots can destroy. Like, God forbid we have to play against Chris Paul soon. He would just murder us. It just because they have no point of attack defenders.
Yeah.
Right. Jalen Wells is far and away the best point of attack defender you have on the team right now.
Right.
And just everybody gets blown by. Everyone has to recover. It's why there's so many open threes. Again, I'm going to be really happy when we get our actual team back. If we get our actual team back. I assume nothing anymore.
Well, a guy who is not dumpster juice, Cam Thomas. I like him a lot. He's been playing well. He's been shooting the ball well. He did go 0-4 tonight. And if you bet on him to go under 3.5 rebounds like I did tonight, he only had 2. So another good win for your boy. And Jalen Wilson, the Summer League MVP, 13-6. So anybody surprised you jump out to you? I know we didn't talk about Zaire, 21 minutes, 2 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. He's turning back into what he is. Like, he got hot early in the season, and his fall has been back to where he is as a player just in general. But anybody on that team that you love, hate, or anything in between?
I always have loved Cam Thomas. I do think we sort of have Cam Thomas at home and Vince Williams, especially if Vince's shot continues to develop. So, I like I said, I like Schroeder. I don't know what the contract is, but I would like him as a backup. I just don't think it makes sense given the current makeup of the team to try and bring him in. Cam Thomas, you know how everybody gets like an inflated opinion. Like, I think we have an inflated opinion of CJ McCollum as Grizzlies fans because he's murdered us for a decade plus. I have a deflated view of Cam Thomas. He doesn't play
well against us.
Well, yeah, but I've watched him plenty. I have League Pass. I like to tune into the Nets because I've always thought they've had some fun players on their teams. And I've just never watched Cam Thomas and thought, dude, that dude's going to kill it if he plays for the Grizz. But, like, a ton of people love him, and I've seen highlights of him just popping off. But I've only ever seen highlights. I've never seen him put it together in an actual game that I've watched. So I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying every time I've watched him, he's been like what he was tonight, which was inefficient and not really contributing to winning. Like, I don't think they won that game because of Cam Thomas. Right?
No, Cam Thomas is a guy who he is a black hole. He wants to get his shot. He's not worried about it. I don't think he's a winning player. I think he can be a guy you can bring off the bench to get shots up in a second unit that might struggle to score, in all honesty. And so I think he's a guy who plays well enough to win, but he's never going to be a true winning player. But also going back to your Cam Johnson thing, I think he plays better when he has a little bit better supporting cast. Like, so for example, if he has somebody that's having a decent night, he will have just as good of a night, if not better, because they can play off of each other. But when he's the guy who's the sole focus of a defense or the sole focus of the offense of a team, I think that's where he struggles the most, is because he can't be a shot creator. He can get past this guy and actually score and get to the front of the rim. But most of all, he wants to be a catch and shoot guy, a guy off of, coming off of a screen, a catch shoot, maybe a couple of dribbles, pull up, jump, so that's his style of play. He's not the shot creator that we hope or want him to be, but he doesn't need to be on this team. That's why I think people like that he would fit on this team pretty well.
Talking about Cam Johnson or Cam Thomas? You said Johnson.
Cam Johnson.
I'm talking about Cam Thomas.
No, right. That's what I'm talking about. Cam Thomas at first.
Okay.
I just think I don't think he fits on this team. I'm not worried about him. I just think he is more of a black hole. I don't think he's a winning player. But
Yeah.
in the end of the day, Grizzlies lose 106-104. There's not much to go on about the game in general. They played okay. They didn't play great. They'll bounce back on Wednesday to take on the Lakers. But let's get to your favorite segment and my favorite segment. All right, Nate, we got Grizz trivia. Cam Thomas, Marshawn Brooks. Look at that. I love that, Alan. All right, let's get to a little bit of a rookie and Zach Edey Grizz trivia question. Did you listen to the Grizzlies broadcast?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
All right. Did you hear the trivia question they put out?
I think I did. I think I know what you're talking about.
All right, let's see if you know it, because if you don't know it, we'll see if everybody else knows it. We're going to go with Zach Edey. At this point in the game, I believe he had 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. As a rookie, this has been done by 4 in the franchise of the Grizzlies. Do you know the other 3? Did you hear it as they talked about it?
I did not.
Okay.
I think I may have heard one because I think it surprised me.
Okay.
I think one was Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay was one of them. So we're talking about Rudy Gay, Zach Edey, 21-11 with 4 blocks. There's 2 other rookies that were for the Grizzlies in this franchise who did this. Who are the other 2?
What was the stat again?
21 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks.
Like, that's the stat. Exactly.
So
those numbers exactly.
Above that. So that's the baseline. So that's, I think that weeded out a lot of people is the reason they stopped.
I'm going Gasol.
Nope. I'm sorry. Which Gasol?
Gotcha, bitch. I'm gonna go with Mark. Powell. I meant Powell.
Pow. Yeah, Pau Gasol.
Okay, and the third.
When you say Gasol, I instantly think of Mark, and then I thought, wait, hold on.
See,
there's Pau.
I got you. What Jaren didn't do it, did he?
Jaren did not. Okay. This would be funny if it was the beat. It is not.
It would be pretty funny. This include Vancouver?
Yep.
Sharif?
Yeah, you got it.
Nice.
Look at you. AC Surreal was close. He said Rudy, Mark, and then Abdul Rahim, but it was Rudy Powell and Sharif Abdul Rahim. Nice. So he ended up with 25, 12, and 4 blocks overall. But at the end of the day, the baseline that I think that separated a lot was the 21 points, 11 rebounds, and the 4 blocks. But he ended up with 25 points. So shout out to him, man. He played well. He wasn't the best game I'll ever see from him, which is good. But we'll definitely see more games. But the fact that he's already up in record books, competing with others, is always a good thing. But
yeah.
All right, let's get to the rest of the show. Anything else you want to hit on with this game before we kind of do the look ahead for the Grizzlies?
I do always want to give credit where credit is due, and I think we've been pretty hard on Edey so far this year. And I haven't been on a show, so I haven't been able to listen to the show either while I was gone.
Imagine that. Yeah,
imagine that. Subscribe and download though. We've been pretty rough on Edey. Not saying that he sucks or anything. It's just like, hey, he has not played well so far, and I think that he has played very well in the past bits of games I've been able to watch. And then tonight, I thought was, like I said, a really complete game from him. Wish that he could have gotten the win for him, honestly, with him playing that well. So it's always going to credit where credit is due, and he played really, really well. So that's it. I just want to make sure we got that in before we moved on.
Yeah, he has played, decent. I think he's going to struggle, but I think he's going to take a few leaps. They're not going to be like, oh my God, he's taking this huge leap. He's just it won't be doing less dumb things that actually hurts him. Like when he can actually set himself up into be the better player into the right spots, he's really going to benefit with spacing and the shooting whenever the other guys come back. I think that's what he's going to do the best with, because he's playing with a lot of bad players at the moment.
I've got some early season. What are we at? 4-4?
4-4.
When's our 10th game?
2 games.
Is it Friday? Well,
Friday.
yeah, Friday. All right, I'll save it for Friday. It's gonna do some like first 10 overreactions, so we'll do that on Friday.
We're also going to try to get a. I believe I can do it. I'm trying to get
You can do it.
more done, but I think I'm just going to put out the way it is right now. We're going to do on this show, we're going to put up a QR code if everybody's interested. We're going to put up a QR code. I'm going to put it on to the background of the, I guess, of our set right here. You'll be able to scan it. And so we'll give you, let's say, 2 or 3 games to be able to scan it. And maybe other Bluff City shows will have it as well. But you'll be able to scan it and vote on who will be at that moment the rookie of the month. Let's just say it's for October. The Grizzlies' best player so far, but also maybe some other things that we'll vote on depending on how creative we can be. If there's some stuff that I could see interesting to vote on, let us know. But I was thinking of different aspects to vote on. I don't think we need to do on all this stuff, but I think it'll allow us to vote on who in all of the NBA, who is the top 5 rookie voters, right? So if you had to pick a top 5, because of everybody's votes, it should give us an actual clear understanding of who it is. Plus, who should be the top rookie of the month for that month, but also the rookie of the year up to that to that day. And so there's a lot that we're going to try to do. And so I'm curious what it looks like within the fan base, because obviously there'll be other fan bases that catch on to it as well as we keep putting it out. So if there's anything that you want to see, anything that you'd like to vote on as a community, let us know. But we'll start putting it up here on the QR as soon as I can get it done. Anything else? Put a bow on this game.
I want to go on. I want to go to the next game now, please.
Let's go around to the look around and the look ahead. I believe it was Wayno or somebody that just put in here looking at the Spurs and the Clippers. At the end of the first, the game was 40-14. Clippers are now on an 8-0 run to start the second, but a 40-14 opening for the Spurs. The Clippers. There's so much that's going on as well. Let's go through the games that have ended. And it's the Bucks and the Cavs. The Cavs knock off the Bucks. Warriors knock off the Wizards. Pistons knock off the Lakers, who we play. If you want to know, if you had a guess, how many rebounds did Jalen Duren go off for?
Jalen Duren?
Yep.
Who'd they play? The Lakers? It was the Pistons versus the Lakers, right?
That is correct.
21.
14. Not that crazy.
Well, he got 17, I think, last night. So I was like, he must have gone higher.
Well, he had 10 by half.
Okay.
And I guess they kind of locked him in a little bit. But the
maybe.
Pistons beat the Lakers 115-103. Celtics beat the Hawks 123-93. My God, they look amazing. And they're playing well. No Jaylen Brown right now as well. The Kings on a Domantas Sabonis, or they call him Domas. I don't know why.
Domas, but
They call him Domas Sabonis.
I call you Domas.
111-110 over the Heat.
Get wrecked.
The Jazz took out the Bulls on the road 135-126.
Okay, dude.
And the Rockets beat the Knicks 109-97. Anything of those games surprise you?
Not really.
Okay.
I was gonna say Jazz beating the Bulls, but that feels like something that should happen.
Right. All right. So right now in the fourth quarter, just starts fourth quarter, the Magic are losing 59-84 versus the Thunder. Trailblazers 71-75. The Pelicans are up on them. Pacers 73. Mavericks 67. Raptors are up 64-59 over the Nuggets. And then a close game, 76ers and Suns 53-54. And that's it.
Dude, let me tell you something. As Grizzlies fans, I know, like, I get frustrated. I'm one of those, like, you play long seasons, you start gathering, like, how do you get to where you want to get to? And it is, you want to go X and X in this stretch, right? Like, this is a stretch where we want to go 4-2. This is a stretch where if we can just go 500, that's great. This is a stretch where we need to go 8-2, right? That's how you get to where you want to at the end of a long season, right?
Yep.
And you and me play baseball. That's how you do it in baseball. That's how you do it in basketball as well. I get kind of frustrated when I look back and I say, I was happy to leave last month 500. But when you look back at who ended up being, those teams ended up being, it's like, you really wish you'd have gone 4-2. Really, really would have been nice to go 5-1, honestly.
Yep.
given the teams you played and what they are turning out to be. Where the Grizzlies are at 500 with the current roster they have, again, roster's just somehow depleted already pretty drastically. I feel much better as a Grizzlies fan than I would if I was a Nuggets or a Bucks fan. I mentioned on the last show a week or so ago, I was like, man, bad vibes from both those teams.
Bad.
Brother, it's horrid if you're Milwaukee. And Denver is like, I don't know what Denver does. Like Milwaukee, I'm just like, I think that experiment's about to be over. It just they look so broken beyond repair. Giannis didn't play tonight. Is he hurt or is he sitting?
Yeah. I think it was an abductor. I think.
Did that happen in a game where somebody saw him get injured, or is that something that came up last second?
I think he was questionable the game before.
Yeah. Do we have any witnesses?
None.
But that feels like, that feels like an experiment gone even worse than I could have possibly imagined it would go. And I did not like the Dame trade when it happened. So that one I feel like is pretty well doomed. And then the Nuggets, let's look at the Nuggets. I don't know what moves you make as the Nuggets.
Wow, they're tough right now because what they have, their bench is not good. Their best guy is Christian Brown. I believe he actually might be starting now. They're bad.
Well, here's the thing with the Nuggets and what made it work is that Jokic and Murray were so awesome that you could have a pretty short bench and it'd be okay. Because neither one of those guys plays a style of basketball that is very injury prone. Right. Even though I know Jamal Murray's gotten a little bit more injury prone as he's gotten older, he doesn't play an injury prone style of basketball, right? And those two guys are so awesome together. It's like you just have the best duo to win a playoff series. Murray doesn't look like that anymore. No. And it makes everything else break down. All of a sudden, Michael Porter Jr., everyone knows that he actually plays terrible basketball, which, by the way, he's always played horrible basketball. It's just he just gets hot from three. He's like a glorified Tim Hardaway Jr. That just drives me insane watching Michael Porter Jr. play basketball. But you can get away with him just like having spurts of amazing basketball because Murray and Jokic cover up for all the other mistakes. And KCP was there, and Aaron Gordon was able to do it. But like once Murray or Jokic, it just so happens to be Murray, but once one of those two guys started falling off, it just was going to completely screw over that team. And it's early. They could easily find it, but yeah, it just looks, like I said, this looks off. Just doesn't look like something that's fixable. So much happier to be a Grizzlies fan right now.
And I think that's where we kind of just settled on is the fact that we have a lot of guys that are injured, but all in all, we have potential to be good. We just need to get guys back healthy. And at that point, once guys get back healthy, being a little bit more critical, when the guys get back healthy, we're not going to see Jack LaRavia playing 30 plus minutes. He probably won't play any minutes, honestly. And then when you have an off night, like shout out to Luke, go check out. I believe Wednesdays he has. Tomorrow's Tuesday, so he won't have all three guys. I'm not exactly sure if it's Drew or Buckets on the show tomorrow, but anyway, go check out the Daily Grind. It'll tune it up at 7:30 Central in the morning. Go check it out. Luke is going to be on there, but you won't see games like a guy like we have here of Santi, 1 of 15 from deep. That guy just gets sent to the bench. When he's cold, you send him to the bench a little bit and you don't play him as much. He plays that 8 minutes that Huff played. The issue is when he does get, playing well, then you play him more and somebody else is probably going to be cold. So right now you have, no chance to do anything with these guys. But yeah, go check out with Luke, and it is Buckets in the morning. Luke and Buckets will be on at 7:30 a.m. The Daily Grind. Always a good show. I'm usually there. My family leaves in the morning to go to school at that time. And so I'm actually able to turn that on before I'm kind of get my morning, getting ready for work. So you do the same. I'm talking to you. No, I'm talking to everybody. Tune in the morning to the Daily Grind. But let's go ahead and look ahead to the Grizzlies versus the Lakers. It's Wednesday. It's a 7:00 start, 7:00 Central, as we have 33 seconds to go in the Bucks and the Chiefs game. They marched all the way back down there on the 1 yard line, and it looks like they just threw an incomplete pass.
Okay. Way to ruin it for everyone who's a second behind. By the way, League Pass, Daniel has to start the show like 45 seconds to a minute and a half before I show up because League Pass is so far behind the regular stream. Just League Pass.
And I'm streaming, so I'm already behind everybody.
Yeah, just League Passing. That's all.
All right, Lakers. I did get a little intel from our fella. He was not able to do a video or an audio version of it.
Slacker.
So screw you, Ryan.
Internet probably screwed up.
The Lakers are dead last in the NBA in 3-point attempts per game. We got
about to change.
We got a somebody Miller. I'm not sure. Scotty Miller, maybe touchdown for the Bucks. So we got 23-24 with extra point.
Cool, Daniel.
My bad. I'm trying to do a live show. Damn it. All right. We have they're last in the NBA in 3-point attempts per game, which is good for us. We have some guys that are in the middle that might be able to help with the interior play. They make up for it with an extremely high free throw rate per possession, a la Land Lakers. 30 free throws a game. So the thing is, the Grizzlies have to play without fouling. Can the Grizzlies do that, Nate?
Without fouling? No. Against the Lakers?
Against the Lakers.
On the road?
No, we're at home, right?
Doesn't matter. It's the Lakers. I couldn't remember if it was at home or on the road.
No, but Grizzlies at home.
Okay, I was about to say it would be mean to make them go all the way from Brooklyn to LA to then play basketball.
Right.
But no, probably not. It's a truth be told, Lakers whistle is a real thing. But also the Grizzlies just foul the piss out of dudes. Like that's also just part of what happens. Same thing. You don't have any point of attack defense, so it makes it pretty tough. So I think that the Grizzlies can win, absolutely, because the strength of your defense is on the interior with your guys. That being said, Zach Edey just had a great game, not taken away from it at all. You're less than 10 games into your NBA career and you're going against Anthony Davis. That's tough. That's tough. And I see Art just put it in as soon as I said it. Yeah. Edey is a bad matchup for insert NBA player here. So much less Zach Edey in game number 9.
Right.
And the Lakers have been playing really good basketball. I think that they look more like a cohesive team than they did all of last year. So whether you want to say that's JJ Redick or not, doesn't matter. They look a lot better. That being said, you've got guys that if Jaren's playing really well, we have seen him play really well against AD like 2 or 3 out of the last 3 or 4 matchups. So he's played really well. I think you'll get a vintage Ja game because it's against a big name opponent, and the Lakers wants to play well against LeBron. It's one of those games that it could go any which way, and I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked if the Grizz blow the Lakers out. That would be shocked by that. But I wouldn't be shocked if it was a tight Grizzlies win, if it was a tight Lakers win, or if the Lakers blew the Grizzlies out. I'd be surprised if the Lakers blew them out. I shouldn't say that, but I think that's more likely than a Grizz blowout. So yeah, should be fun. I think you'll get a much better Jaren, and should be a much more fun game in general.
I'm curious to see that matchup. I saw something in the chat just now that says Memphis won. I'm sorry, the Tigers won. Did the University of Memphis Tigers win? They did win 83-75 over Missouri Tigers. So shout out to the University of Memphis Tigers. I did not expect them to win, especially one. I haven't. This is the first time looking at the game, and the comments that I was reading earlier throughout the night, I didn't think that they were going to win. There's a lot of people very negative on the timeline against them, so I have not seen any positivity. So the fact that they're winning.
What do we always say? Right. Tigers fans always mad about something. We only won by 8. We should have kept Tyreek Smith. That's the only thing I know about the Tigers is the Tyreek Smith stuff. That's literally the only thing I know about the Tigers this year. Quick
question. What are the odds of Rui destroying us? This is from Wayno.
Oh, 100%. There's no odds to say. Whatever his points total is, take the over.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got. I believe it's going to be a good game overall with the Lakers and the Grizzlies. It always is. If you're going to the game, it's one of the last times I would assume that you're going to see LeBron in person, whether he plays next year or not. sometimes when they come to Memphis, he doesn't play, just in general. But we'll see. But there's much respect to LeBron. He's one of the best, if not the best, to ever have played the game. And so it's always good if you can be in attendance or sell your tickets and pay for all of season to go to the games. That's always a good benefit. So whatever you're doing with your tickets, if you're going to the game, enjoy it. It will be fun. But it's going to be a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock here and the FedEx Forum. So last thoughts, put a bow on this game or this whole night overall.
Nothing, man. I was pretty pressed about the last 2 losses I had to do a show for. Maybe I should just quit watching every game that I can only tune into a quarter. They seem to destroy whoever they're playing. So this might be on me, fam. But in general, not upset about this loss. They'll turn it around. I've got a lot of faith in them. And just everybody, go to church, pray for health while you're there. Everybody needs to get right with God so the Grizzlies can get back on the court. That's it. Everybody just, go get right with God. That's what I'm saying.
Wayno says the Nate jinx is real, and I do believe it. Do us a favor, share this share it on social media. We're gonna want to grow the show. It's doing pretty well this year. We want to make sure we keep growing out and kind of just broadening a little bit of our reach and a little bit knowing and letting other fans know where good content, but also the post game is. We're going to be here after every single game during the week. Weekends we take off, as everybody knows, but during the week we'll always be here enjoying our time with everybody that's showing up. I love that we have some newer guys that are coming in on a consistent basis. We do have our OGs. I know there's Art and there's a bunch of other people I'm not seeing right now in the comments. But I know that we've had a lot of good people and new fans and just Grizzlies showing up. So we appreciate it. We're having a good time. I'm gonna go watch this overtime game within the Chiefs and the Bucks. It should be a good one. So King Meeks is asking to come on the show. We're gonna keep it to just us right now, King Meeks. But I do have something planned. I think it'd be a good chance to maybe be able to hang out in person at some point. I think it'd be cool. Whether it's a meet and greet or just kind of hanging out with BCM talent, I think it'd be cool to kind of be all together. If anybody wants to come out, say hello, have a drink or two, I think it'd be a good time at some point throughout the season. But go ahead and give us a favor on your way out. Hit the like button. If you're watching on Twitter, thank you. But come over to YouTube at some point. It's at Bluff City Media. But that's all we got tonight. It's been fun, as always. See you Wednesday night. Be nice. Tell your friends.